Hello everyone and welcome back to Joy as It Flies. If you're new here, my name is Cassidy and I deal with the sewing side of this channel. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how to sew a corset style top, and I think this is probably my favourite thing I've ever designed. It is also a free PDF pattern, so I hope that's an inducement for you to make it. It is also an extremely beginner friendly pattern because I've made it a more of a corset styled top rather than a traditional corset with all the stays and boning. So I wasn't trying to be historically accurate, I just wanted to take something that was a bit of a trendy sewing pattern recently, which corsets have kind of been, and make it a beginner friendly version for everybody to be able to make. So without further ado, let's get to the sewing and into the gory details. So for this top, I like to use two different types of fabric, a plain fabric and a patterned fabric. You can either do the same as me and do that, or you can change it up and do whatever you would like. And you're also going to need some medium weight interfacing. Sew on or iron on is absolutely fine. Then you'll also need some ribbon, some grommets, and your general sewing equipment. Now the last thing you're going to need is the pattern itself. So this is really simple. All you need to do is, in the description below, click the first link and that will take you directly to our website, which has the PDF pattern on it. It also has two size charts to help you find your size. Please use these, and if you just download the pattern, print it out at 100% scale, and then you can print it out, just piece it together and then cut it out of your size. So I've just got one really important note before we get going with the sewing, and that is that every seam in this pattern is sewn with 1/4 inch seam allowance, so just remember that for in a moment. You're going to want to cut out all of your pattern pieces as it says on the paper pattern, but if you're doing the same design as me with the plain and patterned fabric, then I cut my centre front, centre back and ruffle pieces with my patterned fabric, and all of the rest and the lining with my plain fabric. And then you're going to want to attach your interfacing to your lining pattern pieces. So take two of your strap pieces and place them right sides together, pin them in place, and then you're going to want to sew all of the way around it, leaving the bottom open. And then once you've sewn it, you're going to want to snip the seam allowance around the curved edge, but make sure you don't snip into your sewing. Then just turn it right sides out, press it flat, and then you're going to want to over sew all of the way around it. Then once you've done that, you're just going to want to repeat the process with your other two strap pieces. Now moving on to your front center piece and your side front pieces, you're going to want to pin them right sides together. And now this is the only really fiddly part about the whole top, and that's because we're basically pinning here two inverted curves. So it takes a bit of fiddling, some time and a lot of pins, so just take your time with it and pin them together. And then sew down both sides. Now this is, I think, the most important step, and that is to press open your seam. You're going to want to do this every time you sew one of the panels together. Just press them open, and if you have a tailor's ham, that will really help you to press the curved seams. And then just repeat those steps with your side back pieces. Pin them right sides together to your side front pieces, sew them together and then press the seams open. And then do the same with your centre back pieces. Place them right sides together to your side back pieces, sew them together and then press the seams open. Now you've sewn the outer piece of your top, you're just going to want to repeat all of those steps with your lining pieces. Now pin both your outer and lining pieces right sides together, and I like to pin the seams together first. It's really important to match them together to reduce the bulk in the top and to neaten it all up. So I match all of the seams and then pin the rest of the corset top together. Then you're going to want to sew them together, starting along the side, going up, and then you see that straight line. You're going to want to leave that open because that's where we're going to attach the straps in a moment. Start sewing again and continue sewing all of the way around the front. Leave the second straight line on the other side open for the strap. Continue sewing all the way down. So you're going to want to leave the bottom of the top and those two openings for the straps open. Once you finish sewing, take one of your straps and place it inside your top and push it up through that opening we left for it. Then just line it up with the edge of the corset top and then pin it in place. Do the same with the other side and the other strap, and then you're going to want to sew across them. Then clip all of the corners and also clip into the seam allowance of all the curved edges. Then you can turn your top right sides out, making sure you poke all of the corners out, and then just press it flat. Now we're moving on to your ruffle piece, and along one of the longest edges you're going to want to iron a double hem of 1/4 inch. So fold it once by 1/4 inch and then once again by another 1/4 inch. And then you're going to want to iron another double hem of 1/4 inch along both of the shortest edges. And then sew all 3 hems closed. Now along the last raw edge of your ruffle piece, you're going to want to sew 2 parallel lines of stitching at your longest stitch length, and don't backstitch at either end, because now we're going to pull the top 2 threads to create gathers. And you're going to want to gather your ruffle piece until it's the same length as the bottom of your corset top plus 1/2 inch. Then place your ruffle piece right sides together along the bottom of your corset top, and at both sides you're going to want to fold over your ruffle around the back of your corset by 1/4 inch, so basically the width of your hem, and then just continue pinning the rest of your ruffle to the bottom of your corset top. And then sew them both together. And now I like to finish that raw edge with my overlocker, but if you don't have an overlocker, I would suggest you edge it with a tight zigzag stitch on your normal machine. And then just fold your ruffle open and press it flat. And then we have finished all of the sewing. So now you're going to want to add your grommets to your corset style top, and just place them everywhere that it's marked on the paper pattern with notches. So that's on the centre back pieces, on the straps, and on the front pieces to attach the straps to. And then the last thing to do is to lace the back and the straps up with your ribbon. And that is it, you are all done. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed making your corset style top, and if you have any questions about the pattern or anything like that, just drop it in the comments and I'll do my best to answer you. It would also really help if you could subscribe to the channel and perhaps like this video. It's your way of helping us to grow and for me to continue giving you free sewing patterns. So I hope to see you next time.